Good evening, everybody. First of all, I would like to congratulate Zivanza and the team, Shweta, Japneet, and Rushant, who has taken this pain to arrange this webinar. And thanks a lot for this wonderful introduction.
Thank you, Doctor.
I'm excited to talk today and also to be there to help all the patients with their obstetric and fertility problems. As Shweta mentioned, today is the talk for the patients mainly, but I hope that I will also not displease my doctor friend who have joined today for this webinar. Are you able to see my slides?
Yes, doctor.
Okay, so straight away, I'm just given 30 minutes and I'll speak on this problems in conceiving what's next.
Doctor, just one request. Your voice is a bit low, so maybe if you can just, yeah.
Sure. So the first point I would like to say is when the patient is planning for a baby and in a month or two, they fail to conceive, they start getting anxious. That is it normal or something abnormal? And then you have another group of patients which has been trying for a long time, but still has not conceived and they will not agree to the fact that they have a problem. So today, let us speak to these patients that yes, infertility is on rise. You are not the only one there. 1 in 6, and now we are experiencing 1 in 5 couples who come up with a fertility issue. The reason being that nowadays the lifestyle has changed. There is more environmental pollution, junk food, there is delay in getting married or delay in planning a baby, career-oriented couples who want first to settle and then have a baby. Then a lot of stress, a very fast life, long distance marriages, all this put together and the gadgets electronic that have come. A couple may be present in a bedroom but may not be having any physical relation for months together. And these are the most important reason that has added to the infertility problems. So statistically, if you look at a couple, what are the chances of a couple getting normally pregnant? I would say if they are not using any contraception and they are having a regular healthy sex life of at least 3 times an intercourse in a week, then they should get pregnant 57% in 3 months. In 1 year, at least 85% should conceive and 93% by the end of 2 years. So definitely a couple who has religiously tried for 1 year or more has a problem and needs to accept it and go ahead and see what is the reason and try to solve their problem. For a normal couple, if you are in the age group of 20 to 25, and you have regular cycles, then also you have just a 25% chance of getting pregnant per cycle. And if you are more than 35 years of age, your chance of getting pregnant per cycle drops to just 10%. I will come to that later. Which are the most common causes of infertility? There could be the female cause, there could be the male factor, and nowadays we are seeing lots and lots of combined male and female factors, both multiple factors. Most common female factor is, I would say that they have tubal factors, ovulatory dysfunctions, then endometriosis is on a rise with polycystic ovarian disease again. Then an early premature ovarian failure is one of the important factor. Uterine factors are there. For the male, it is the low count, low motility, abnormal sperms, everything put together. And then you have a certain group of 11% where it could be unexplained, where you cannot pinpoint who has the exact problem, but still there is a problem. So let us look at the female infertility right now. A female, when she is born with millions of eggs. But by the time she starts menstruating, it drops to just 300,000. And actually, in her reproductive lifespan, she ovulates for 400 to 500 times maximum. And that is the number of oocytes that come out. So that means that females are born with a set number of eggs, and these eggs start exhausting, and by the time she reaches 45 or nearing the menopause, she hardly has any eggs left in her ovary which are good quality. When we look at the male infertility, we find that the male partner is now having a huge problem. The WHO, which has kept a standard of 60 million sperms in the male, have now dropped it to 15 million to stamp it as normal. Because if you stamp 60 million now, more than 50% of the males could be having a problem of infertility because the sperm count is lower than what is wanted in a normal man. And that is really, really scary now. That is the male getting extinct. The sperms in the male are going down and down. The male may have sperms which are low, but may not have at all any sperm in the ejaculate, and you will be stamped as azoospermia. But these azoospermic males also have a chance of conceiving. So now let us look at what are the factors that will increase a woman's risk of infertility. Age. As I said, that younger the age, your chances of having a baby are higher because your ovary has young eggs. But by the time you grow to 20, 35, 40, your eggs after the age of 32, the number reduces. And after the age of 35, the chromosomal abnormal eggs are more. And by the time you are 40, just 85% of your eggs are abnormal and 15 only are normal. An abnormal egg means an abnormal embryo, not implanting, or there is a miscarriage. History of smoking, excessive alcohol use, stress. Stress can also lead to poor quality eggs and abnormal implantation. Poor diet. Either you are overweight or you are very, very underweight and skinny. Lot of time you are passing with electronic gadgets, sexually transmitted diseases, polycystic ovary, endometriosis. What are the things that increase a man's risk of having infertility? One is when you have used you are smoking, alcohol, recreational drugs, excessive gymming, especially when you take the androgens, gynogens to increase your muscle mass, your chances of having a poor quality sperm is higher. Environmental factors, tight clothing, and anything that is going to raise the temperature of the scrotum. If you are working in a place where there is a lot of chemical exposure, high temperature, again, your chances of getting good sperms are low. So then comes the question that, yes, you have been trying for 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. I said a younger couple can try longer, but when you are in the bracket of 32 plus and 35 plus, don't wait for that 1 year. 3 to 6 months of a very good trying. If it doesn't result in a pregnancy, go seek a medical advice immediately. In the younger age group, you can wait up to 1 year, especially when you have regular cycles, when the intercourse is regular, and when the periods are not very painful, are normal pain, you don't have any history of recurrent miscarriage or any history of past surgery like appendicectomy, etc., then wait for 1 year. But if you are more than 35, seek an advice earlier. There are certain warning signals that a couple, when they are planning or as soon as they get married also, they should think of that, yes, they should try a baby earlier than later, not to wait for longer period of time. These warning signals, if your periods are of very short interval, 3 weeks, or they are very long intervals, 2.5 months, 3 months, you have history of pelvic infection in the past, or men who have had prostate infections, and sometimes men himself can feel that his testes doesn't seem to be felt in the scrotum. What are the factors which affect the chances of a normal couple getting pregnant? A couple will come and say, what are my chances? How many percentage that I'll get pregnant in 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year? There are many things. And first of all, as I said, it is the age, and age. Older you are, the longer you are going to take time to become pregnant. Younger you are, you will get pregnant faster and easily. Ideally, the human female body is designed to have a baby between the age of 20 to, I would say, 30, 33. 35 is also the upper limit now, because we see that the egg reserve is going down in the Indian and the South Asian females faster than their Caucasians and the Western part of the world. So when you go to a country where there is a cosmopolitan crowd, or you are in this country like US, you feel that your biological clock is not ticking, but your ethnicity is very important when you are looking at this. Trying time, again I said 6 months to 1 year. How ovulation improve my chances to conceive? So the first visit that you go to your gynecologist, there'll be a basic history that they will take, wherein the menstrual history is taken in very, very detail. And based on your menstrual history, there will be certain tests that they will advise. And one is the ovulatory test, because in a female, the egg, there is one egg that ruptures in the full one menstrual cycle of 28 to 30 days. If your cycles are very regular, you will ovulate on the 14th day, just 14 days prior to your expected period's date. So if your cycles are 40 days, you will ovulate on the 26th day. But if your cycles are 26 days, you will ovulate on the 12th day. And this egg that is released in your body will survive for 36 hours only. Now the sperm that enters your body will survive for 48 hours, maximum 72 hours. So within this time frame, if you did not have an intercourse, there is no possibility that you will get pregnant when you start having intercourse just post period or just before period. So this is one way to track your ovulation. The other way is you watch out for the mid-cycle pain in your abdomen, and that is the time when consecutively 3 days, 4 days, you should have regular intercourse. There is a basal body temperature thermometer special available, that before you get out of the bed, you keep that thermometer ready and take. And as soon as there is a rise, you can know that now you are going to ovulate and have regular intercourse that time. And now there are also kits available ovulation, which can help you say that this is the time you are ovulating. Now, this question that how long does the infertile couple take, or how long is the treatment, that's very commonly asked. Because what happens that as soon as a couple is planning a baby, they think that in a month or two, I will have my pregnancy. They have their friends around them who have got married around the same time and conceived immediately. They have their relatives, and nobody has this problem. And yes, it's very physiological that you should get pregnant when you want to plan a pregnancy. But everyone is not the same. You could be that special couple who will need a little help to get that pregnancy. So we cannot tell you that when is your treatment going to be 100% successful. But yes, we can offer you a number of investigations and treatment based on the history that we have got from both of you, and then start your treatment. So what are the basic investigations? Before I come to investigations, there is a lot of hush hush. People want to keep it a secret that they have a problem. They don't want to show it to anybody that they have consulted somebody or they need a doctor's help to get pregnant. I agree. The first of all, there will be a denial. No, I can't have a problem. Everything is normal. Menstrual cycle is normal. No, I ejaculate normally. Why should I have a problem? My sister, my brother, everybody has babies. I will also have it. But it is better that you accept this earlier than later. And there is no need to be frustrated or dejected, because there are so many treatment options available that virtually I can say that anybody and everybody can now be blessed with a baby. But for that, you should be determined, positive attitude that yes, I'll get a baby, and go with all the hopes. Okay. So that is why I tell you that acceptance is the first thing. Don't get into the denial mode. Don't try to hide. You don't need to go out in the open and declare that I have a problem. But if you feel that somebody is going to help you, always discuss the problem. You can join the support groups also in Fertile. So you will know that you are not the only one. And there are so many who are in a much worse situation than you are. So what are the basic investigations for the females? Normally, a very good ultrasound where you can see the uterus, the endometrium, the ovaries, the position of the ovaries, check the tubes if there is any hydrosalpinx. And when you study this basic ultrasound on the second day, it gives a lot of information. And a transvaginal scan is always better. Then there are hormones that you need to study: the FSH hormone, the LH, the prolactin, TSH, and estradiol. And another important test is day 21 progesterone level. If there is some problem, then the tubal patency test will be done, which is hysterosalpingography, a very simple test. And if on the scan or from the history, the doctor finds that you need an operative laparohysteroscopy to find out if the tubes are stuck, to separate them, or there is an endometriosis, or there is an ovarian mass, or there is a hydrosalpinx, or a hysteroscopy if you feel that the uterus is abnormal in the form that there is a septum, there are some adhesions, there is a polyp or a submucous fibroid, then you will be subjected to that. And this will help to solve your problem and get pregnant faster. For the male, it is a semen analysis. If the semen analysis, the count, the motility, the normal forms, etc. are within the range, then the next step will be to try, and if no result, then only we subject them to higher tests like DNA fragmentation index and ROS, etc. But if there is zero sperm, we repeat after 5 days, again it is zero sperm, another third time, and then we stamp it as azoospermia. And the azoospermic male will undergo certain hormone tests based on which we can say that by which method we can extract sperms directly from his testes. So these are the basic investigations that the couple will undergo. Now, what are the treatment options? Supposing everything comes out to be normal, then the first thing the gynecologist would do a natural tracking of the ovulation and advise the couple to have an intercourse at that time. So that is done on day 2 of the menstrual cycle. Then they'll call you on the 10th or the 12th day and check for the natural ovulation. If there is an issue with natural ovulation, or in spite of natural ovulation, they've not conceived, then fertility pills like clomiphene citrate, letrozole are given, so that instead of one egg, which normally a female produces, she can have 2 or 3 eggs, which increases her chances of getting conceived, because there are 2 to 3 eggs ovulating and maybe one at least can get fertilized. The ovulation will be tracked, and again at that time, timed intercourse is advised. Even with oral ovulogens, if she does not conceive, then there are next step to see the tubal testing, and also there are other injections in the form of gonadotrophins which can be given. Now, do all the patients need a laparoscopic surgery? I would say no. A certain group of patients will be benefited from laparoscopic surgery. Which are they? One, which has got definitely severe pain, that is the endometriosis. Pain during first day of the menstrual cycle, 2 to 3 hours, is very normal, and if it subsides with one pill, nothing to worry. But yes, if the pain is there on the second day, third day, increases with each cycle, there is severe pain during intercourse, what we call dyspareunia, or there is pain while passing stool, painful defecation. When you are passing stool and you suddenly feel some pain, especially when you are menstruating or 2-3 days prior, that means you have some element of endometriosis. You just need to put a scope, clean the endometriosis, and you have all the chances to conceive naturally. If there are patients who have fibroids, a very heavy bleeding on second or third day, patients who have history of blocked tubes, or patient who have history of polycystic ovaries where we drill the ovary to reduce the hormonal levels, giving her a chance to ovulate normally with the ovulogens. And then there are patients who have some need for hysteroscopy, like they have very scanty periods, or they have a polyp, or they have very heavy period because of a submucous fibroid, or on the 3D ultrasound, we see that there is a septum or a big septum which is preventing from her from getting pregnant, then we need to do a hysteroscopy. So these are the patients, and whenever we do a hysteroscopy, we do an operative hysteroscopy, because diagnostic now we avoid it. As soon as we diagnose a problem, we treat the problem immediately. So these are the indications: tubal pathology, endometriosis, ovarian cysts. Not all ovarian cysts need surgery. There are various cysts which are just functional and simple, which does not need. But if there is a chocolate cyst or there is a dermoid cyst, we definitely need to remove. Pelvic lesions, then sometimes unexplained infertility. We are not seeing anything on the scan. We are not seeing anything abnormal on the sperm count, but still she is not conceiving. By putting a scope, we can find out if there are some flimsy adhesions which we have not noticed, or early grade 1, grade 2 endometriosis. So this is the laparoscopic surgery unit, and we do a 3D laparoscopic surgery. Such type of dermoid cyst with hair in the ovaries are removed, or a female has undergone a family planning surgery and now she wants to have a baby again. That time, or she has changed the partner, we can definitely do this, remove the clip, suture it very nicely, and make the tubes patent for her to conceive naturally. This is a very big fibroid which has been removed and very nicely sutured. Wait for 2 months, start planning again, and you will have a baby. This was the fibroid that was removed from cervix to isthmus right up to the uterus. Again, this is the hysteroscopy. Before any IVF, if you have failed cycles, then there is Asherman. Sometimes what happens, there is secondary infertility. A female is conceived, but she has to undergo a DNE, surgical abortion, because she had a miscarriage. And if there is excessive curettage done, maybe both the walls of the uterus will stick together, and then there is no space for the embryo to implant, and that is known as Asherman syndrome. So we need to open up that cavity very nicely. Sometimes congenitally only the cavity is T-shaped or very narrow, we need to cut it. So these are the cases where we need to do hysteroscopy. But my dear friends, I would like to still go back to the basics, and that is the holistic approach. Any fertility treatment is not a magic wand. Your support from both the partners is very important. And any egg that is going to come up today for fertilization, or any sperm that is coming today, will be recruited 2 months prior. Spermatogenesis is a 64 to 70 days procedure, and the egg recruitment is 70 days. So those 2 months prior to your planning are very, very important. Go on a healthy diet, what we call Mediterranean diet, very low on carbs, high on vegetables, fruits, then dry fruits like almonds and walnuts are very, very good both for the male and the female. Go for a healthy lifestyle. Avoid all abuses like alcohol, smoking, drugs, whatever. Go for a daily proper sleeping pattern. Don't have late nights. Just go for a regular sleeping pattern type. Exercise is a must. The males and the females both. Either you go for walks, cycling, yoga, aerobics, whatever. Stress. Stress is the biggest culprit, because there is a stress for your work, from your social life, and again the stress of infertility. You have to distress yourself. For that you do meditation, whatever. You have to be totally stress free when you are planning a treatment. You have to go with a positive attitude, but with full hopes. But okay, be prepared for a failure also, and acupuncture can also help. So holistic lifestyle approach is very important whether you are going to plan naturally. Supplements in the form of vitamins, vitamin B12, folic acid, coenzymes, very important for the female. Zinc, very important for the male. Coenzyme, very important. So as soon as you know that I want to plan, go for a preconceptional counseling, which we will have at Zivansa. We'll tell you that what is important for these 2 months, what all tests you need to do bare minimum before you are planning a baby for the husband and for the wife, and then start planning your pregnancy. Even if you are going for any assisted reproductive technology, go for this 2 months of holistic approach. And then if nothing works, you have something called as IUI, then IVF, which is the test tube baby, and ICSI. What is IUI? It is a very simple procedure. You will be given certain drugs, tablets, but I prefer injection gonadotrophins because 3 good cycles of IUI can give you a baby and you can avoid an IVF. Here, what you do is from day 2, either you start oral drugs like letrozole or clomiphene, or you give gonadotrophin injections and follow the follicles. Maybe on the 7th day, you do a scan, 10th day, and then when the follicle is about 20 millimeters, if you have used letrozole or clomiphene, or if you have used injection 17 millimeter, and the uterus is prepared by 8 millimeter lining of endometrium, we give you one injection, and 36 hours later, we collect your partner's sperm in the lab, prepare it, create a good harvest of the sperms with motility and count, and simply without any anesthesia, slowly while we are talking to you, just put it inside your uterus. Totally painless procedure, no rest required. Sometimes the cervix is very tight or the cervix is hostile to the sperms, then this procedure will help in conceiving faster. Then there is another technique of, there are limitations of IUI because if the tubes are blocked or one tube is blocked and the ovulation has occurred in the other side of the ovary, or the sperm counts are very low, less than 15 million with 40% motility, or the cervix is totally infected, then the tube and the ovary are not in a normal position. If we do a scan and we find that the ovaries are stuck posteriorly, or I don't see the position of the tube and ovary normal with the uterus, or there is a lot of adhesions because of endometriosis or previous surgery, I would not suggest IUI, but I would suggest in those cases IVF or test tube. For the IVF, the patient selection, stimulation, oocyte, sperm preparation, transfer, and luteal phase is very important. I'm going to take one talk for the patients on this in the month of November. And this is the simple procedure. Give injections. When the eggs are big, remove it. In a petri dish, fertilize with the sperms. And then we culture it and then transfer it into the uterus. Main indications, both the tube block, male factor, that is low, very low sperm count motility, endometriosis, unexplained, HIV discordant couple, menopausal women, premature ovarian failure. Now, what are the factors which affect? There is no guarantee 100%, but yes, each case will have their own success rate. Again, I'll discuss this in the next webinar, but the success of IVF mainly depends on the age of the female, with the age of the egg very important. Then a very good experienced embryologist and clinician team is required. The cause of infertility also affects it, and we should look into the genetic and chromosomal competence of the embryo. The latest and the newer approach is the regenerative medicine, because if your eggs are very low, we can help you with ovarian rejuvenation with your own blood or bone marrow. And also your uterus can be helped, and even testes can be rejuvenated with very low sperm count with this. So these are all the options, from IVF, ICSI, ovarian rejuvenation to the simplest holistic approach, and then surgical like laparohysteroscopy. And thank you all for a patient hearing.